I didn't scream when her fist connected with my jaw. I didn't cry out when she grabbed the lamp and swung it at my ribs. I just stood there, silent, watching the woman I'd loved for 15 years become someone I didn't recognize. Our house guests were asleep upstairs. Our children were at summer camp. It was just us in that dimly lit living room, and the only sound was her ragged breathing and my own heartbeat thundering in my ears. "Say something," she hissed, her face twisted with rage. "Defend yourself, Michael. Tell me I'm wrong." But I wasn't going to give her that satisfaction, not this time, so I stayed silent. "My name is Michael Ross, and I'm a high school history teacher in a small town in Oregon for most of my life. I've been the calm one, the rational one, the one who talks things through. I married Sarah when we were both 25. Fresh out of college and full of dreams about the future. She was a marketing executive. Ambitious and fierce. I loved that about her. She had this fire in her eyes, this determination to conquer the world. I was more laid back, content with my modest salary and summers off to travel with the kids. We had 2 children, Emma, 13, and Lucas, 10. They were my world. Every parent says that. I know, but I meant it down to my bones. I coached Lucas's soccer team. One helped Emma with her art projects. At midnight, when inspiration struck her, I made pancakes shaped like dinosaurs. Every Sunday morning, Sarah worked late most nights. That was fine. We had our rhythm. She provided the financial stability. I provided the emotional foundation. It worked until it didn't. The problem started about 2 years ago. Though I didn't recognize them at first, Sarah began coming home later and later. Her explanations were always work-related: client dinners, strategy meetings, presentations that ran long. I believed her because I had no reason not to. She'd always been dedicated to her career. But then came the small changes. She stopped asking about my day. When I tried to tell her about something funny Lucas said or a breakthrough Emma had in her painting, she'd nod absently, scrolling through her phone. The warmth in her eyes when she looked at me faded, replaced by something distant and cold. I thought it was stress. I made her favorite meals. I suggested we go to couples therapy. I planned date nights. She canceled every single one. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under." She'd snap, "Not everyone gets summers off to play house." Michael, that stung, but I swallowed it. Marriage is about weathering storms, right? About being patient when your partner is struggling. I kept being patient even when I found the credit card statements showing purchases at expensive restaurants on nights. She said she was working late at the office, even when she started password protecting her phone, even when she began treating me like an inconvenience in my own home. The night everything exploded was supposed to be a celebration. My brother David and his wife Michelle were visiting from California. We hadn't seen them in 2 years, and I was excited to reconnect. Sarah seemed fine with it. At first, she even helped me prepare the guest room. We had a nice dinner that evening. David told stories about his new job in tech. Michelle shared photos of their recent trip to Japan. The kids video called from camp to say goodnight. Everything felt normal after David and Michelle went upstairs around 10. Sarah poured herself a third glass of wine. "I need to talk to you about something," she said. I was loading the dishwasher. "Sure, what's up?" I want a divorce. The plate in my hand nearly slipped. I set it down carefully, turned to face her. "What?" "You heard me." Her voice was flat, emotionless. "I'm done with this marriage. I've been done for a while now." My heart was racing, but I forced myself to stay calm. "Sarah, where is this coming from? If you're unhappy, we can work on it. We can go to therapy." "I don't want therapy." She slammed her wine glass on the counter. "I want out. I want a life that isn't suffocated by your neediness and your mediocrity." Mediocrity, the word hung in the air like poison. "I've given you everything," I said quietly. "I've supported your career, raised our children, kept this home running. You've done the bare minimum." She cut me off. "You're a high school teacher? Michael, you make $48,000 a year. Do you know how embarrassing that is when my colleagues ask what my husband does?" I felt something crack inside my chest. Embarrassing? You could have been more. You could have pursued administration, gotten a PhD, done something with your life besides grading papers and coaching kids soccer. "I love teaching," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I love being present for our children." "Well, I don't love being married to someone with no ambition. She was shouting now, I'm 40 years old, Michael. I've worked my ass off to get where I am, and you're exactly the same person you were at 25. You haven't grown. You haven't evolved? So this is about money? My hands were shaking about status. This is about me wanting more than a life partner who's content with mediocrity. I've been a good husband, I said, and I hated how my voice cracked. I've been faithful, present, supportive. Oh, please, she laughed bitterly. You want a medal for doing what you're supposed to do? And what about you? The words came out before I could stop them. Those late nights? Those credit card charges? Who have you been having dinner with, Sarah? Her face went white, then red. How dare you accuse me? I'm not accusing, I'm asking. You're pathetic, she spat. You know that? Sitting at home, tracking my credit card statements like some paranoid child. I'm your husband. I have a right to know if you're cheating on me. That's when she picked up the wine glass and threw it at the wall behind my head. It shattered, red wine dripping down the white paint like blood. You want to know the truth? Her voice was venomous. Fine, yes, I've been seeing someone who actually has goals, who makes me feel alive, who isn't content to rot away in some small-town classroom. The room tilted. I grabbed the edge of the counter to steady myself. How long? I managed to ask, does it matter? How long? 11 months, almost a year. While I was making pancakes and coaching soccer and believing we were just going through a rough patch. I want you out of this house. She said, I'll file for divorce on Monday. You can take whatever you want. But I'm keeping the house. I paid for most of it anyway. Something in me snapped. No, I said. Excuse me? No, you leave. These are our children's home. This is my home. I'm not going anywhere. Her eyes narrowed. You don't get to tell me what to do. I'm not leaving my home because you decided to blow up our marriage for some affair. She moved so fast I didn't see it coming. Her palm connected with my cheek. Hard enough that my head snapped to the side. I stood there, stunned. My face burning. Don't you dare judge me, she hissed, and then she hit me again, this time with her fist. Catching my jaw, I stumbled back, tasting copper. Sarah. Stop. But she wasn't stopping. She grabbed the decorative lamp from the side table and swung it. I tried to block it. But it caught my ribs. Pain exploded through my side. You're nothing. She screamed. Nothing. A failure of a husband. A failure of a provider. She raised the lamp again, and I just stood there. I didn't fight back. I didn't run. I didn't yell for David and Michelle upstairs. I just looked at her. This woman I'd loved for 15 years. And I stayed completely silent. Something in my silence seemed to enrage her even more. She hit me twice more, once in the shoulder, once in the chest. Before she finally stopped, breathing hard, the lamp dangling from her hand. We stared at each other. Say something, she demanded. I said nothing. Michael, say something. I turned and walked out of the room. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the guest bathroom with the door locked. Looking at my reflection in the mirror, my jaw was already swelling. There'd be bruises by morning, dark purple proof of what had just happened. I took photos, close-ups of every mark. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. Around 3 a.m. I heard Sarah's footsteps in the hallway. She tried the bathroom door. Michael? Her voice was different now, smaller. Michael. Please, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please come out so we can talk. I didn't answer. She stood there for what felt like forever. Then finally walked away when morning came. I waited until I heard David and Michelle moving around upstairs before I emerged. I'd put on a high-collared shirt, but there was no hiding the bruise on my jaw. Sarah was in the kitchen, making coffee. She froze when she saw me. Our eyes met. I watched the color drain from her face as David and Michelle came down the stairs behind me. Morning, David said cheerfully. That dinner last night was... He stopped mid-sentence. Mike, what happened to your face? Michelle gasped. Oh my God, are you okay? I could feel Sarah's panic radiating across the room. I'm fine, I said calmly. I had an accident last night. An accident? Michelle moved closer, her eyes widening as she took in the full extent of the bruising. Michael, this looks serious. Did you fall? Something like that? Sarah was gripping the counter, her knuckles white. We should take you to the hospital, David said. Concerned. That needs to be checked out. I appreciate it. But I'm okay. I poured myself coffee, my movements deliberate and calm. Actually, would you mind if Sarah and I had a moment alone? David and Michelle exchanged uncertain glances, but nodded and retreated to the living room when they were gone. Sarah finally spoke. Michael. Her voice was barely a whisper. Please, I'm so sorry I was drunk. I was upset. I didn't mean. You meant every word, I said quietly, and every hit. No. I'm going to file a police report this morning. Her face went from pale to ashen. You can't, Michael? Please, my career, if this gets out, I'll lose everything. You should have thought about that before you assaulted me in our home. I'll lose my job. The company has a zero-tolerance policy for violence. Then maybe you shouldn't have been violent. She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. Please, I'm begging you, I'll go to therapy, I'll end the affair. I'll do whatever you want. I want a divorce, I said, and full custody of Emma and Lucas. You can't take my children. Your children? I set down my coffee cup. Sarah, you work 70 hours a week. You've missed half of Lucas's soccer games this season. Emma can't remember the last time you asked about her art, and last night you beat their father while they were away at camp. They don't need to know about that, but they will because I'm documenting everything, and when we go to court, I'm going to make sure the judge knows exactly what kind of person you've become. Michael? Please. She reached for my hand. He pulled away. Don't touch me. The finality in my voice seemed to break something in her. She collapsed against the counter. Sobbing, I walked out of the kitchen and found David and Michelle in the living room, both looking worried. I need you to witness something. I told them, I need you to see these injuries and be willing to testify that you saw them the morning after they occurred. David's jaw tightened. She did this to you. It wasn't a question. I nodded. Michelle covered her mouth with her hand. Oh. Michael, I'm going to the police station now, I said. Would you be willing to come with me? To give statements? Of course, David said immediately. Whatever you need. The police officer who took my report was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes. She photographed my injuries from multiple angles. She asked me detailed questions about the timeline of events. She had me write out everything I could remember. Sarah, saying, this is domestic violence, she said gently. You know that, right? I nodded. Men don't report this as often as they should. She continued, there's stigma, shame, but what happened to you is assault. Plain and simple, you have every right to press charges. Will there be enough evidence? I asked, with your injuries, the photos, and witness testimony from your brother and sister-in-law? Absolutely. She paused. There's something else you should know in Oregon. Domestic violence charges can impact custody decisions if you're planning to divorce. I am. Then this report will be crucial for protecting your children. Sarah was arrested the following day at her office. I wasn't there to see it. But Michelle told me later that it made the local news. Marketing executive arrested on domestic violence charges. Her company put her on immediate administrative leave pending investigation. She called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. Her lawyer called too, proposing a settlement. She'd agreed to an uncontested divorce and shared custody if I dropped the charges. I refused. The court proceedings took 4 months. 4 months of Sarah's lawyer trying to paint me as vindictive, as using the system to punish her for wanting a divorce. 4 months of Emma asking why mommy couldn't come to her art show. 4 months of Lucas crying at night because he didn't understand why our family was broken. But I had the photos, I had David and Michelle's testimony, I had the police report in the hospital records from when I finally got my ribs checked out, 2 fractures. It turned out, and most importantly, I have the truth. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, listened to everything. Sarah's lawyer argued that it was an isolated incident, that Sarah was under tremendous stress, that she'd been in therapy and anger management since the arrest. Then my lawyer presented Emma's diary. We hadn't known Emma was keeping one. It was discovered during the custody evaluation. In it, she'd written about the nights she'd heard her mother yelling at me, about how scared she felt when mommy got angry, about how she wished Daddy would stand up for himself more when the judge read passages aloud. I watched Sarah's face crumble. The verdict came on a gray October morning full custody to me supervised visitation for Sarah until she completed a year of therapy division of assets. I got the house, Sarah got to keep most of her retirement accounts and stocks, and Sarah was ordered to pay child support, substantial child support. Given her six-figure income when it was over, I walked out of that courthouse with David and Michelle flanking me like bodyguards. I called Emma and Lucas from the parking lot. "You're coming home?" Emma asked, her voice hopeful. "I'm already home." "Sweetie, and so are you forever?" That was 2 years ago. Sarah completed her therapy. She lost her job but found another one in Seattle. 3 hours away, she sees the kids twice a month now. Always with a court-appointed supervisor present at first. Emma and Lucas were confused and hurt. They didn't understand why everything had to change, but slowly, as time passed and they settled into our new normal, they began to heal. Emma's art has blossomed. She won a regional competition last spring. Lucas made captain of his soccer team, and me? I'm still teaching history at the same high school, still making dinosaur pancakes on Sunday mornings, and still the same person I was at 25, and I'm no longer ashamed of that. Sarah texted me a few months ago. "I'm sorry for everything, you deserve better." I didn't respond some. Apologies come too late to matter. People ask me sometimes why I stayed silent that night, why I didn't fight back, didn't yell for help, didn't defend myself. The truth is, I was defending myself, just not in the way most people would. I was defending my dignity, my integrity, my right to be the bigger person even when someone I loved was trying to destroy me. Violence wants a reaction. It wants you to escalate, to engage, to become the villain in someone else's story by staying silent. I refused to play that part. In the next morning, when our guests saw the bruises, when the truth came out in the harsh light of day, that silence became the loudest testimony I could have given. If you're reading this, if you've ever been in a situation where someone you love became someone you didn't recognize, please know that you're not alone and you don't have to stay silent forever. Document everything. Tell people you trust. Get help. Your story matters. Your safety matters. Your children's well-being matters. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is simply refuse to let someone else's darkness consume your light. I am Michael Ross. I'm a high school history teacher. I make $48,000 a year, and I'm proud of every single dollar, every pancake, every soccer practice, because my worth was never measured by someone else's expectations. It was measured by the love I gave to my children and the strength I found when I needed it most. If my story resonated with you, if it made you think or feel or remember that you deserve respect and dignity in all your relationships, please share it. These stories need to be told. These experiences need to be heard. Thank you for listening to mine.